Live from KSAT 12, the news at noon starts right now.
Well, KSAT 12 afternoon, closely monitoring two court cases in the Alexander Castro manslaughter trial. After 2 days of deliberating, the jury has reached a verdict. And later this afternoon, a woman charged in the case involving the death of her son will be sentenced. Our Erica Hernandez has been on top of both of these cases and joins us live in the studio with more on the Justice Center. And, first of all, Erica, what was that verdict for Castro?
Yeah, Castro was just a little while ago was found not guilty of manslaughter, but guilty of criminally negligent homicide, which is a lesser charge. Castro was originally charged with manslaughter with causing a deadly accident that killed 24-year-old Alexandra Sabert back in 2022. The jury yesterday went into deliberations at around this time yesterday, but later in the evening, Judge Stephanie Boyd had them sequestered. They were brought back this morning to continue deliberations at about 9. Around 10:30, though, this morning, they did reach a verdict, which it was decided on that lesser charge, which is a state jail felony. Castro is now facing a maximum punishment of up to 2 years in jail. The punishment phase is now underway, and that same jury will decide punishment as well. And then this afternoon, Nicole Aguilar is expected to get sentenced. Aguilar, along with her then-boyfriend Daniel Garcia, were charged with injury to a child and the death of her 5-year-old son, Dominic Aguilar Acevedo. Now, Dominic died at a hotel here in San Antonio back in 2021, but his body was found a month later down a hillside in Colorado. Garcia in May went to trial and was found guilty. In exchange for her testimony, Aguilar was given a plea deal. The maximum per that deal that she can get is 15 years in prison. Now, Garcia is expected to be sentenced next week. He faces anywhere from 5 to 99 years or life in prison. Now, Stephanie, we will be live streaming Aguilar's sentencing, which is expected to start around 1:30, and you can watch it on all our platforms, KSAT.com, KSAT Plus, and KSAT's YouTube page.
And speaking of Aguilar, wasn't she supposed to be sentenced back in June?
That is correct. Now, if you remember, when that sentencing was supposed to take place, she lied about her immigration status. So because of that, an immigration attorney was not present for those plea negotiations. So they had to start back at square one with an immigration lawyer present. They have since done that. That's why we are here today for that sentencing this afternoon.
All right, Erica, thank you for joining us live, and we'll keep up with it on KSAT.com.
Thank you.
Thanks. We'll also take a look at this, an American flag raised in honor of fallen BCSO Deputy Meredith Portillo. This was ahead of today's services, which are happening right now. So you can watch that live stream on our website, KSAT.com and KSAT Plus. Barrett County Sheriff's Deputy Meredith Portillo lost her life back on July 21st after a pickup truck driver crashed into her Ford Mustang on Interstate 37. Police tell us that the driver of that pickup was a 28-year-old man who died at the scene. Well, Vice President Kamala Harris is set to formally announce her running mate today. At this hour, it seems like her pick will likely be Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. ABC's Jay O'Brien with what's next for the Harris campaign.
Vice President Kamala Harris selecting Minnesota Governor Tim Walz as her running mate. In a post on X, Governor Walz saying he's, quote, all in and calling it the honor of a lifetime to join the Harris campaign. The pick made quickly in the 2 weeks since President Biden dropped out, now thrusting the popular Midwestern governor into the national spotlight, seen as an attempt to appeal to voters in key Rust Belt swing states like Michigan and Wisconsin. Walz telling a fundraiser before the VP announcement Harris is an incredible candidate and that former President Donald Trump should be rattled by her campaign's momentum. A former high school teacher and longtime champion of blue-collar issues, Walz expected to bring a down-to-earth approach to the campaign's criticism of Trump and his running mate, Senator J.D. Vance.
You do not need your elected officials to give you a sermon, and these guys are weird on how they frame it.
Harris picking the governor over several other VP hopefuls, including Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro and Arizona Senator Mark Kelly. The vice president now planning to stand hand-in-hand with her new running mate tonight at a rally in Philadelphia. From there, Harris and Walz will blitz 6 more battleground states in 5 days, including Wisconsin, Michigan, Georgia, and Arizona, states she and Biden flipped in 2020. As Harris was choosing a running mate, Trump in a new interview taking a shot, saying any of her possible VP contenders would be a better president than she would.
I think virtually every one of them is considered better, smarter, would be a better president than her. But we can't allow her to be president.
Former President Donald Trump slamming the pick, calling Waltz a, quote, extremist. His running mate, J.D. Vance, is expected to hold a rally in Philadelphia also today, and then will follow the Harris-Waltz ticket to a number of those battleground states. Jay O'Brien, ABC News, Washington.
And coming up in the next half hour, we are talking to UTSA Professor John Taylor about what this all means for the Harris campaign. And let's look out there with live cam this afternoon. I can tell you things are heating up. Already 92 degrees. I was actually outside walking around the Pearl for a shoot, and it was so hot when there was no shade.
Oh my goodness, yeah, so find some shade if you can. The good news is humidity is going to come down a little bit in the coming hours, so the heat index, which is high right now, will not be as much of a factor. Let's say when you're heading out for the evening commute or your loved ones are heading out for the evening commute. But let's go ahead and take a look outside right now with live cam. Barely a cloud in the sky. 92, but it feels like 100 out there. We've got barely a wind, variable at about 5 miles per hour. I want to take a look at neighborhood heat index values. 102 is what it feels like in New Braunfels and Seguin. It feels like 100 in Floresville, 95 in Tarpley, feels like 96 in Bandera. Higher elevations of the hill country feels just a smidge cooler, but it's still a toasty afternoon. I'm looking at the rest of your day. I think we're going to hit 100 today. I think today will break the streak of no triple-digit weather in San Antonio, so 100 for the high, mostly clear skies, and a mild and warm evening with temperatures in the mid-80s by midnight. Hey, coming up in the forecast, we're going to talk about how we're about to enter a stretch of triple-digit days that we really haven't seen since last summer. And we all remember last summer how brutal that was. I'll have your forecast for you coming up in a bit. Stephanie.
Thank you, Sarah. Well, trending right now on KSAT.com, a man taking his trash to an apartment dumpster was shot and killed after he slipped while walking and the gun he was carrying went off accidentally. That's according to San Antonio police. Now, officers were called out just before 6 a.m. to the 12,400 block of Starcrest Drive, not far from Jones-Maltzberger Road, after receiving word of a person wounded. He was taken by ambulance to an area hospital where he later died. The San Antonio Police Department reporting that investigators found a gun near the trash bags. And this story is up on our website, KSAT.com. You can read more about it there. Now imagine getting paid your salary for 4.5 months without ever having to show up to work. That was the arrangement made for a top administrator at a San Antonio area school district after he was placed on leave late last year.
It is a serious issue when the district is essentially giving away public monies and receiving nothing in return.
Lavernia's superintendent declined a request to be interviewed about the decision to continue paying Duffick while on leave for well over 4 months. In an interview with KSAT in the fall of 2020, Cohn told us, quote, "Whether we like it or not, we have to tell the story for what it is and be completely honest, whether it's about finances or what a teacher did or what a superintendent did. It's about communicating." Duffick's personnel file included a 2-page recommendation letter written by Cohn the same day the resignation and release agreement was signed, in which the superintendent highlighted Duffick's many accomplishments and wrote he played an essential role in the district's latest bond.
Now we know he's gone. We sweep it under the rug. We move on. That's kind of how things been handled.
Well, tonight on the Night Beat, the take-home pay given to Duffick from a district now facing a budget deficit. And you can read more about the story right now on KSAT.com. You can just scan that QR code on your screen right now. Well, big news for the Frostbank Center. K-pop boy band 17 will be bringing their world tour to San Antonio. So the Korean pop group will be in San Antonio on October 31st and November 1st. San Antonio is just one of 5 U.S. cities that the group will be stopping at for the U.S. leg of their tour, and the only Texas city to get a stop. So this is just the second time a K-pop group will bring their tour to our city.
We had TXT about a year ago, which was the Frostbank Center's first K-pop show. It did extremely well, and so that helped us to get this show back.
Well, tickets go on sale to the general public next Thursday. That is August 15th. You can learn more about back-to-back stops here in San Antonio and how to sign up for tickets by going to our website at KSAT.com. Well, a new law serves two purposes now. It helps school find staff for open positions, and it gives veterans a leg up if they're on the hunt for a new job. Details still ahead. Well, back to school season is underway, and school districts across the state are competing to draw the best and brightest teachers into the classroom. A new law aimed at putting veterans and first responders at the front of the classroom as teachers is a new tool in the toolbox. Our Patty Santos tells us what specific areas they could be teaching and for how long.
Military service members and first responders looking for a temporary career change should consider a job in the classroom. The lawmaker who authored the bill says these professionals have so much life experience that could be so crucial to helping students trying to figure out their lives.
The veterans that I've talked to, the veterans that I know, you know, they're service minded, right? They sacrificed a lot of their years for love of country, and they love these students, so they want to do what's best for them.
House Bill 621, passed by lawmakers, allows qualified veterans and first responders to teach career and technology-related classes. This would be a 3-year certificate. I checked around with our districts and found Northside ISD used this provision to make one hire. Statewide, the Texas Education Agency reports 46 veterans and 2 peace officers have been hired using this new law. I asked the bill author, Representative Matt Shaheen, why that is.
We certainly can do a better job of promoting it. There's some things that we can do with respect to communicating through our veterans organizations and the like throughout the state of Texas.
So if you're a retired veteran or former law enforcement officer, here's a new career for your Act 2. Patty Santos, KSAT 12 News.
Let's look out there with a live cam this afternoon, already at 92 degrees. It's basically, I guess, a week of triple digits for us, Sarah.
We got the heat, but the good news about the summer is usually the allergens are pretty low, and that's definitely the case today. Take a look at this. We do have 4 allergens out there: molds, pigweed, grass, and fall elm, but they're all pretty low, so no worries there, and no Saharan dust as well. Unfortunately, when we look at the aquifer, it's down more than a foot in the last 24 hours. All that beneficial rain from July, well, we're seeing the aquifer respond in the opposite way now that it's been dry for a stretch here. Let's take a look at your weather headlines. Triple digits return starting this afternoon. We do have a small chance for rain by the weekend that I'll detail. But compared to last year, this heat, not too shabby. Those details coming up.
Hey, welcome back. We're going to go ahead and toss it over to Jen and Fiona with the question of the day. We hear it's about soda.
It sure is, because we are celebrating National Root Beer Float Day.
Nice.
So,
yeah, so we want to know, we got talking this morning about maybe some people prefer Big Red. I did growing up, so that's our question today. It may not be root beer, but what's your go-to soda that you like in a float? Do you guys have one?
In a float? Oh, absolutely a root beer for me. It's so nostalgic. My dad would make me root beer floats, and I would come home from school, and it was just like a great bonding moment. So sometimes I still do a root beer float occasionally, although I do splurge and I get like the craft root beer.
Oh, the fancy root beer.
Good ice cream instead of just, like A&W, whatever.
I love root beer floats as well, but I find myself getting like good old Coca-Cola and making Coke floats all the time.
Nice.
Yeah, that's usually what I go to. And every once in a while, if I want to get wild, I will try a Big Red, but that's seldom.
I can see that my root beer has had a little bit of an influence because the poll just went up for root beer.
It's changing as we speak. It's working.
Yeah, and the orange soda too. Yeah, we were thinking like, what is it, the dreamsicle?
Yeah,
right?
like a dreamsicle, yes. That's a favorite of mine.
That is yours? Yeah.
Okay, so wait, I have something else for you guys to ponder. Do you eat or drink a root beer float?
Oh, okay. Well, I do both.
Yeah, both.
Absolutely.
I have a straw and a spoon.
Yes.
Yeah.
Same.
Once you get to the end, right? It's like you gotta.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you guys?
Same. A little bit of both.
A little bit of
yes,
both.
It sounds like we've got a really awesome day of SA Live headed up for us.
Yes.
Yes, so weigh in and let us know what soda you prefer with that QR code, and we'll share the answers later on SA Live. See you ladies in a bit.
Root beer, root beer, root beer, vote.
Or soda. Yeah,
That's awesome.
that's doing well. Big Red has nothing. Not right now.
Although it is, this is Big Red Town.
Yes, but maybe not with ice cream.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Even though it does kind of taste like cream soda anyway.
A little bit, especially when it starts mixing all together. They're all great options, especially for this time of year.
Especially with the heat, right?
Yes.
So I do want to, even though we're about to enter into a stretch here of triple-digit weather, I want to put this in perspective. So far this year, we have had 12 100-degree days in San Antonio. That's nothing to sneeze at, but when you compare it to the years with the most 100-degree days on record, we are coasting. Just last year, we had 75 100-degree days in San Antonio, the most on record. And 2009 comes in second place at 59. And just 2 years ago, 2012, rather. 22. Last year was 2022. 2022 comes out at 58 100-degree days. So I think it would be hard for us to place within the top 5 for the 100-degree days, because even though we're going to see a stretch here of triple-digit weather, it'll be difficult for us to see 30-plus extra 100-degree days this year. You're not hearing me complaining, but do please take care of yourself in the coming days, because this is where we're going to be standing at for temperatures some 3 to 5 degrees above what is average for this time of year. One thing to keep in mind too is the good news is that humidity is not going to be as much of a factor when we look at the afternoon. So not as much of a heat index. Clouds and radar showing that it is fairly quiet across Texas, but you look out to the east and can you see very clearly here? We've got Tropical Storm Debby bringing a lot of rain to areas in Georgia and the Carolinas. We're seeing flash flood warnings in effect. Take a look at Tropical Storm Debby. It's got sustained winds of about 40 miles per hour, and we're seeing it move very, very slowly, only to the east-northeast at about 5 miles per hour. So that's why it's bringing some flooding to those areas. Meanwhile, heat high is what is in control of our weather pattern in the coming days. That's why we're going to be dealing with those days of triple-digit weather, one after another. And high often means dry. No substantial rain chances for us. However, by Saturday, that heat high will be enough off to the west, and there will be some storms in North Texas that we'll keep an eye on to see if they can move south and make it to San Antonio. Odds of that happening over the weekend, really only about 20%. As we take a look outside this afternoon, it's 92 in San Antonio, feeling like 100, 93 in New Braunfels, feeling like 102, and 94 in Del Rio, feeling like 100 degrees. And this afternoon, we'll be topping off right at about 100 for the high temperature. Temperatures falling into the 80s after sunset. Not too bad in the evening hours. It's not going to be that humid, and we'll be looking at highs in the 80s. Temperatures in the 80s. All right, highs today going to be near 100 in San Antonio, 103 out toward Del Rio, 101 in New Braunfels, but even hotter tomorrow. Here's a look at the map for tomorrow's high temperatures. 106 Del Rio, 106 Carrizo Springs, 103 Pleasanton, 103 in New Braunfels. Triple digits our forecast over the next several days. And there's that small 20% chance for an isolated shower or storm on Saturday and Sunday. And I know I talked about Tropical Storm Debby and all of the rain that it's bringing to areas in Georgia and the Carolinas. However, coming up in just about 5 to 10 minutes, I'm going to talk about another area we'll be watching carefully to see if it develops into a tropical storm. So stick around for that. We'll be back with more news after the break.
Well, COVID-19 cases are on the rise again in the U.S. Emergency department visits linked to the virus have been increasing for weeks, according to the CDC, and the most recent data shows the level of COVID-19 in wastewater across the country is high. CNN's Mandy Gaither has more on the latest variant that's spreading and when the updated COVID-19 vaccine is expected to be out.
Right now, it's the most common COVID-19 variant in the U.S. KP3, a descendant of the Omicron variant, is spreading across the country. And if it's been a while since you've been vaccinated, you may be vulnerable.
Immunity, we're learning, lasts around 4 to 6 months. So keep that number in the back of your mind. That is probably the reason that we're seeing a summer surge as the protection wears off from the last set of shots.
The 2024-25 COVID-19 vaccines, expected to be out this fall, will target the JN1 strain. Because it too is in the Omicron family, experts expect it to provide protection against strains currently circulating. The CDC recommends everyone ages 6 months and older receive an updated vaccine to protect against getting severely sick from COVID-19, especially those who are most vulnerable, including those who are immunocompromised, have underlying health conditions, certain disabilities, and seniors.
Also, there's been a lot of discussion recently about a combination shot, COVID and flu. Maybe you've heard about this. It would be COVID and flu in the same shot. Moderna, the pharma company, had some positive trial results with that combination earlier this summer, but we're learning it's not going to be ready for this fall.
The CDC says it is safe to receive the COVID-19 and flu vaccines at the same time. Experts recommend you get both before the end of October. For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Well, all eyes will be on Vice President Kamala Harris tonight as she introduces Minnesota Governor Tim Walz as her running mate at a rally in Philadelphia. And joining us now to break down her vice presidential selection is John Taylor. He is a UTSA professor, and he is also the chair of the UTSA Department of Political Science and Geography. John, thanks for joining us.
Pleasure.
Well, first of all, we read that President Biden was calling on Democrats and Americans on social media to rally behind Harris and Walz. But what do you believe the overall reaction has been to Harris's choice?
Among Democrats, it's been tremendous excitement. He's a great choice for Democrats. He's a guy who basically checks all the boxes. He's a moderate, to slightly right beyond moderate Minnesota governor, former U.S. House member. He was a command master sergeant in the National Guard, which is a very hard thing to achieve. School teacher, football coach, in fact, coached Mankato West High School to their first football championship in 24 years when he was there. Met his wife there. Compelling story, grew up in rural Nebraska and graduated from Chadron State University, public university in eastern Nebraska.
Well, along those lines, do you believe it will strengthen the Democratic ticket in those Midwestern states?
Absolutely. In particular, Tim Walz is strong on labor. He has labor's endorsement. He signed legislation that strengthened workers' rights. Additionally, he's big on reproductive choice. This is a guy, compelling story that people may not know. His first daughter, he and his wife's first daughter, Hope, was an IVF baby. And that issue, as we know, has already come up in the campaign and will most assuredly come up now even more.
And we know it's still early, but do you believe there will be a debate between Tim Walz and J.D. Vance soon?
That's a good question. I don't know if there's going to be one between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. Assuming there's one between Harris and Trump, you would think there would be one between Walz and Vance.
And I know you kind of touched on this earlier, but do you believe this choice will make a difference in the polls?
That's always a good question. The argument about vice presidential choices is do no harm. Find somebody who will not harm the ticket. We've seen several that have harmed the ticket. In particular, we've seen what's happened with J.D. Vance and his problems the last few weeks. We saw it in the past with people like Sarah Palin, Dan Quayle, even John Edwards. The last person who might have really, really helped a presidential ticket as vice president was probably Lyndon Johnson in 1960 here in Texas.
Well, thank you so much, John Taylor, professor and chair of the UTSA Department of Political Science and Geography, for joining us this afternoon.
Pleasure.
Let's look out there with a live cam. Okay, we're still at 92 degrees.
Yeah.
Let's hang on to the low 90s, right?
It's not going to be 92 for a bit here. We're going to be warming up to, I think, 100 degrees, Stephanie, kind of breaking our lack of triple digit heat.
I know.
That we've seen. So, yeah, it's going to be hot, but at least we're not dealing with the flooding that they're dealing from Tropical Storm Debby out there in Georgia and in the Carolinas. Still a tropical storm. It's expected to meander over the coming days. I mean, just kind of staying where it's at, potentially even going back out to sea and making more landfall, another landfall again, rather, out across parts of the Carolinas too, before becoming a tropical depression out and moving across areas, bringing a lot of rain to even areas like New York. But we do have our eyes set on parts of the Caribbean right now because there's a bit of unorganized activity out there that has a chance to approach areas like Jamaica and potentially strengthen in the coming days. About a 30% chance of development. We'll keep you posted. That's still a pretty low chance of development in the next 7 days. But if it does happen to strengthen, become a tropical storm, it would be getting the name of Ernesto. That's the next name that's on the list there. It is far too early to tell if this system could this potential system rather, could move into the Gulf of Mexico. Just wanting to keep you posted that we will keep you updated. It is the middle of Atlantic hurricane season, and we want to keep you updated on that. As for the rest of the day, we're going to be reaching high temperature of 100 degrees this afternoon in San Antonio. So that 92, we're not going to stay there for long. By midnight, it'll be 85. But believe it or not, 100, about the coolest we're going to get in the coming days. Those details coming up. Stephanie.
Thank you, Sarah. Well, some work beginning on the Santero Road extension project already getting underway. This is phase 1 of the project. It is starting at the most eastern point of Santero Road near the northwest corner of the Community Bible Church property. So crews will be adding lanes, curbs, and a raised center median with lighting in the area. The Northern Community Bible Church driveway will be closed during this time. However, the Gold Canyon driveway will be open. This back-to-school season, one local district is seeing growth, and that means when Medina Valley ISD heads back to class, hundreds of students will walk the halls of a completely new school named Silos Elementary. However, it won't be the last new school in that district. Right now, crews are building a new high school that's set to open in the coming years.
We need to ensure that we have classrooms available for all of our kids. But based on our projections, we're anticipating on opening a campus per year.
Well, data for MV ISD shows over the last 3 years, the student body population has grown more than 10% each year. Well, summer may be winding down a little, but August is jam-packed with back-to-school savings on things like electronics and dorm deals for students. Our digital journalist Ivan Herrera shares some of the best August deals on the top-rated items.
Long summer days are getting shorter, but there's some good news this time of year, end of season and other late summer sales. These are the top discounted products Consumer Report says to look out for in this month's best time to buy.
This August, what you'll see sales-wise is really focused on back-to-school shopping. So if you're looking for tech gadgets for your kids or things for their dorm, anything like that is going to be on sale throughout the month.
A new laptop is a great way to kick off a new school year. The Lenovo IdeaPad Slim 3i is priced as low as $449.99 at Staples. CR says this 15.6-inch display has a touchscreen and considerable battery life that could last beyond a full day's work. If you prefer something sleeker, go with a tablet. This Apple iPad is as low as $299.99 at Amazon. It's a 2022 model that aced CR's tests in performance, photo, and video. With a mesh Wi-Fi network, you can ensure that homework and other tasks are done efficiently throughout the house. The TP-Link Deco Whole Home 3-pack is as low as $129.99 at Amazon. And for college students, save money by making Java in your dorm room. This coffee maker from Mr. Coffee is $49.95 at Walmart. And don't forget about Labor Day early next month because those sales start soon.
Those discounts tend to start around the middle of August, where you will see big savings on mattresses, large appliances, and seasonal items like grills.
This flat-top grill from Blackstone is as low as $249.99 at Amazon. CR says the 28-inch flat top maintains even temperatures across the surface on both low and high heat. It's a great grill to pair with a great ending to your summer.
Looking for something else? CR says you can expect discounts on dehumidifiers, microwaves, and vacuums this month. Ivan Herrera, KSAT 12 News.
Here in Savannah, Georgia, Debby has prompted road closures, car stallings, all due to flooding. And it's not done yet. I'm Samara Theodore. My story coming up.
Well, several U.S. personnel were injured in a suspected rocket attack at a coalition forces airbase in Iraq. That's according to a defense official. The Defense Department blames Iran-aligned militia groups for Monday's attack at Al-Assad Air Base. The Iraqi military said 2 rockets had been launched from a nearby vehicle. It intercepted the vehicle, which had 8 more rockets being prepared for launch. The Iraqi military says it is searching for the perpetrators. The Pentagon called the attack a dangerous escalation that demonstrates Iran's destabilizing role in the region. Now, tensions are extremely high in the Middle East. Now, today marks 79 years since the U.S. dropped an atomic bomb on the Japanese city of Hiroshima, a somber anniversary for the first and only country to ever be hit by an atomic bomb. 3 days after bombing Hiroshima, the U.S. dropped a second atomic bomb on the city of Nagasaki, a devastating attack that forced Japan's unconditional surrender. A ceremony to remember the victims will be held at the Hiroshima Peace Memorial Park today. Japan's prime minister and representatives from 109 countries will attend. Tropical storm Debby tearing through the southeast and turning deadly. At least 5 people confirmed dead, and some areas are still seeing life-threatening rainfall and flooding as the system barrels through the region. ABC's Samara Theodore is in Savannah, Georgia, where catastrophic flooding is feared.
Relentless rain, high winds, and life-threatening storm surge pummeling the southeast as Debby swirls through the region. At least 5 people killed, including 2 children. A 13-year-old boy died after a tree fell onto this mobile home in Florida. Streets flooded in Brunswick, Georgia. More than 10 inches of rain estimated to have fallen already just north of Savannah.
The best case scenario, we're going to get another 4 to 5 inches of rain on top of what we already had. The worst case scenario, we may have another up to 8 inches of rain. So unfortunately, I don't believe the storm is done with us yet. 9
tornadoes reported in Florida and South Carolina over the last 2 days.
We had absolutely no time to react. It was right on us. All we had time to do was just kind of look at each other and say, run.
Debby made landfall as a Category 1 hurricane in the Big Bend of Florida's Gulf Coast Monday morning, dropping more than 16 inches of rain near Sarasota. Curtis Silver and his family running to the top floor of their home as water rushed in.
The water wasn't just coming in through the front door. It was coming up through the floorboards. It was coming in through the walls to the outside.
In Horseshoe Beach, near the eye wall, strong winds tearing up trees. In Charleston, South Carolina, the mayor saying pumps have been brought in and are ready, as well as high water rescue vehicles. The city is extremely vulnerable to flooding.
Debby is expected to sit here and stall over the Georgia and South Carolina coastline, churning in ocean water along the shoreline and dumping heavy amounts of rain that could lead to historic flooding. Samara Theodore, ABC News, Savannah, Georgia.
Looking out here with live cam, we don't have that flooding and don't have that rain either. So we want that nice little balance, I guess. We want some rain, but not that severe flooding.
In San Antonio with the rain, you know, it's feast or famine, right? Like we end up getting a lot of rain all of a sudden or go for long stretches without rain. But thank goodness in July, we got over 4 inches of rain. So good news there for us. But as we head into the rest of this week, it's going to be pretty dry. As we take a look at the pollen count, we do have 4 allergens out there. Thankfully, they're all low: molds, pigweed grass, and fall elm. The aquifer needs even more rainfall. It's already down a foot in the past 24 hours. So we still have to practice those water restrictions in San Antonio. And our rain chances are slim over the weekend, but we'll talk about that. As Texas heads into an extended period of heat here, how will the grid hold up? ERCOT. I'll have that answer coming up in just a bit.
And the new school year means a new edition of Science with Sarah. Meteorologist Sarah Spivey is excited to do, she's right here next to me, to do some fun new experiments with students. And if you'd like her to stop by your school, just scan that QR code to register. By filling out this form, your name will be entered in a random drawing. So if your name is picked for the fall semester, Sarah will reach out to you by email.
And we've got a fun experiment tomorrow. We're going to be at the zoo. Tomorrow we're going to be making slushies.
Nice.
From just 3 ingredients. You ready?
Okay.
Apple juice, salt, and ice.
All right, apple juice for sweetness. That was my what I was not worried about, but that was what I like to hear. The sweetness
it's
there.
Definitely a treat.
That's good. Yeah.
So stick around for that. It's going to be fun. It's going to be States of Matter. That's tomorrow at 9 a.m. during the GMSA at 9.
Yeah, we'll be tuning in. I mean, I'll be there. I'll be talking to you.
Good. I can't wait. Maybe y'all can do the experiment here as well.
Oh, maybe we should. Okay, wait. Orange juice. I mean, not orange juice.
Or you
apple
could do
juice.
orange
No,
juice.
apple juice is better. Salt and what was the other one again?
And ice.
Ice. Okay.
Stick
Yeah, we can
around for
do
that. For now, though, let's go ahead and talk about the weather. Hey, guess what? It has been 31 days since we've last seen 100 in San Antonio. We made it to a month. Okay? I say we made it to a month because today we're going to hit 100 degrees in San Antonio. It will be our high temperature for the day. And then even in the coming days, I mean, look at these temperatures. We're going to be up to 102 Wednesday and Thursday, 103 Friday, and near 100 degrees over the weekend. There's a small chance for an isolated shower on Saturday and Sunday, but don't bank on the rain, bank on the heat. It's going to be a hot one. You'll want to take care of yourself. It's all because of this heat high that is going to be not really budging all that much. It'll be moving over Texas a little bit to the west there, but really not budging too much. And so that's why we're going to see hot and dry weather here for the most part, other than that small chance for rain on Saturday and Sunday. In fact, here's a look at what temperatures are going to be across the state of Texas on Thursday. Not just us, says Lynn, but it'll be 108 in Del Rio for our friends out west here, Del Rio. If you're tuning in, 108 on Thursday, 108 in Abilene, 108 in Wichita Falls, 104 in Dallas, and 105 in Waco. If you remember last summer, there were several days where ERCOT was like, oh, it's going to be close. The grid is going to be close. Well, I bring good news. Things look pretty good when we look at the ERCOT supply and demand forecast. I'm going to spend a second here on this graphic so you can know what's happening. This red bar here is the demand, what is expected to be the demand. And you can see that it hovers anywhere from around 73.5 to 80,000 megawatts per day. And what I'm showing you in the blue line is the supply. And the supply I'm showing particularly is at 9 p.m. Why 9 p.m.? Well, because at 9 p.m. we lose solar energy and we rely on all the other energy sources other than solar. And so that could be a time where things are pretty tight. But the good news is you can see that that blue line extends well past the demand. So the supply will extend past the demand. Long story short, the grid is expected to behave as it usually does. So we shouldn't have any of those crisis moments where we're worried about power, according to ERCOT at least. 92 degrees outside right now, feeling like 100. So it is hot outside. It feels like 100 in New Braunfels, 102 in Gonzales, 102 in Del Rio, and 102 in Eagle Pass. Looking at the rest of your day, we're going to be right near 100 degrees this afternoon, feeling like 102 at times. And then by this evening, things will look nice for us. Temperatures will be in the 80s. We'll have less of a breeze and low humidity too. Other than that, it's 100 degrees there on the map. I heard Japhanie Gray call them Benjamins. We got Benjamins on the 7-day forecast every single day. There's a small chance for an isolated shower on Saturday and Sunday. We'll be back with more news after the break.
Hey, welcome back. Well, we are going to check in with Jen and Fiona. I know we talked about soda earlier. What's going on with your show today?
Back to school is on everyone's minds.
Oh yes, it's creeping up on us, and today we have Tara Hartman with the Carmel Soap Company, and I love these kits right here because it's perfect for back to school, right?
Locker essentials.
Locker essentials.
Must-haves.
And you have a deal for viewers?
We do. 20% off today only. Got to get on that. It's a great deal, and these are something that every kid could benefit from.
And all natural. We'll tell you about how she got her business started too a little later.
All right, get ready to slice through your skill set with Filipino martial arts. We learn all about this art form full of history and high energy. And you know what? They're going to be showcasing their skills at the Adobo Throwdown happening this Saturday and Sunday. We're going to fill you in on that too.
Wow, I'm impressed. Okay, and we get saucy. Yes, we taste the chicken from San Antonio's voted best pizzeria. Find out why the popular pizza joint might become a hot spot for their tahine wings. And there's a deal for viewers.
And cool facts about cold-blooded animals. We learn about 3 reptiles at the San Antonio Zoo.
And our question of the day, it's National Root Beer Day, so we are asking you, what is that go-to soda that you like in your root beer float? So you can scan that QR code and share who's in the lead, Fiona. Let me
Right
see.
now it looks like, Big Red.
Yep, Big Red.
Yeah!
That's a classic. Takes me back to childhood. Send those answers in, vote, weigh in, and we have a lot more coming up on SA Live.
Y'all remember that famous episode of Oprah where she says, you get a car, you get 100, you get 100, and you get 100. That's the forecast for the next 7 days here in San Antonio. It's going to be well past the triple-digit mark on some of those days. We do have a small chance, Stephanie, for some rain on Saturday and Sunday, but I would plan on the heat.
Yes. Well, I wish the hundreds were either grades that we could get in school. Yeah. I'll take that.
Extra credit.
Or cash.
Okay.
You get 100. You get 100.
I guess when it's this hot, we can make the weather do as we wish.
Yeah, we'll just pretend. For now, SA Live starts right now.
I have a movie coming out that I have a role in. It's called Life of Chuck. It's a Stephen King movie, which, to have your name attached to such a big writer is, it's a blessing.
Today on SA Live, a one-on-one chat with San Antonio native and child actor Antonio Raul Garcia.
A sweeping score and powerful story make The Hunchback of Notre Dame an instant classic. We give you a preview of the show that will sweep Texas audiences away with the magic of this truly unforgettable musical.
Well, a favorite local pizza joint has something new for you to try. They've got wings, but wait until you see how they've got a bit of a San Antonio twist on them.
Celebrating 10 years, live from historic Market Square. This is SA Live.
Ah, yes, you see it on the screen. It is National Root Beer Float Day, and we are celebrating. In fact, you see what we're making sure you know about right now.